So we are planting tomatoes today. This is what we call a little dibbler. It's actually a chopped up chopstick, but it works perfectly. We have a few tools like this in the greenhouse, and they're really important in tomato planting, and I'll show you why. We have 4-inch square pots for the tomatoes. We have blended soil. We have created a lot of blended soil in preparation for the big plant up because we have probably 2,000 tomatoes to plant. With this, you can have a tray of 4-inch squares ready to go, and I pre-make the holes as much as I can. The soil is not packed tightly into the squares because we want there to be room for the roots to kind of move around a little bit, but we also want there to be enough soil in there too. So I have a tray of Better Boys. If you look on the bottom, they have holes, and this is where we use our little chopstick to help us out. Now, generally we're looking for tomato plants that have got their true leaves. So these are seed leaves, the leaves that kind of look the same on all of them. And you're gonna see the little true leaves are starting to come out. There's a bigger set where they look more like real tomato leaves. So we wait until the tomatoes have their true leaves generally. So I'm gonna go with this one. So I'm gonna poke out the tomato. Now I'm taking the tomato out, not by pinching the stem, but by kind of using that loosened bit. I'm holding it mainly by the leaves. Because if the leaves tear, they can grow back. If the stem breaks, then the tomato's dead. So you notice I'm planting it quite deeply. All the little hairs on the stem, actually I'm gonna use this as my extra planting soil. All the little hairs on the stem actually can become roots. So we plant the tomato deeply because it's going to be a fairly big plant and it can use a strong root system. This is about as deep as I can go with this particular one because it was fairly tall. But even if you can get it a little bit deeper in the soil, that's good. So we can then water it a little bit. You'll see a little bit of space might fold in, little holes. You can sprinkle it a little bit more in, kind of calling it tucking it in, tucking it into bed. Now we take a tag. And this year, I think all we're gonna do with the tags is we're not gonna write the word tomato because that just slows us down too much. For each and every one, we need to put the name of the tomato. We can generally recognize the tomato plant, so we don't need to write tomato. And we're sticking it so that we can see it. And then every single pot is going to have the tag facing the same way. Every single pot gets a tag. Make sure that you're tagging before you move on to another variety. That's kind of the main tip. So I think that's about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Laura.